Welcome to We Support Caregivers podcast. I am Lashina McBride, the Executive Director of We Support Caregivers Incorporated. Welcome to another podcast episode. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope your new year have started out great. Hopefully you're focused on achieving your goals and of course implementing more self-care. We Support Caregivers is a 501c3 organization whose mission is to encourage and to empower individuals who care for their elderly loved ones to focus on and to cultivate self-care. To make a donation and to learn more about us, visit WeSupportCaregivers.org. Also, while you're on our website, check out some new features that we've added. We have our resources. There's some free educational resources. You're never too old to continue to learn, and it's never too late to learn. But check out some of the free educational resources under our resource page. They're absolutely free. Most of them just require you to sign up to sign up by creating an account with them, and you have access to different courses and the availability to receive certificates. So go to WeSupportCaregivers.org and check out our resource page. While you're there, head over to our caregiver support page and make sure that you sign up to receive or for the opportunity to be chosen to receive one of our self-care support kits. Remember, we're here to support you on your caregiving journey to keep you encouraged and empowered to cultivate and focus on self-care. So there's some resources on our website that can help you do that. All that requires you is just to sign up. It's free. And then what we do is monthly, we choose a caregiver to send a self-care support kit to, which is absolutely free. Our self-care support kits consist of movie tickets, mugs, teas, products from Bath and Body's aromatherapy line to help you manage stress and for relaxation purposes. Just head over to our website and sign up. Also, we want to keep you encouraged throughout the week. Make sure you sign up for our self-care support text. You can dial on the website. It has the number that you can text the word caregivers to, and you will receive a text message from us once a week to keep you encouraged regarding your self-care. Also, tips are given and things of that nature. So visit our website to have access to all these resources. So the holidays have come and gone, but your journey as a caregiver still continues. After this break, Celeste Wooten and I are going to discuss how to continue to navigate life as a caregiver after the holidays. You don't want to miss it. You're listening to We Support Caregivers podcast. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. It's me, Lashina and Celeste. We're back here with another podcast episode. And what we're discussing is the holidays are now over, but I'm still here. You're still here as a caregiver. So what is next? What's next now? What do you do now the holidays are over? What's your mindset? Now that we're in the new year, what is next? So what do you think they should do next, Celeste?
Well, first of all, hello to everyone. And we want to kind of piggyback from the series that we did over the holidays, talking about caregivers and how to take care of themselves during the holidays. But now this particular episode, we want to talk about how the holidays are done, but you're still here. And a lot of people think that that the sadness and sometimes depression, sometimes anxiety,
right,
really sets in during the holidays. But it's really when you're a caregiver, once everybody has came and gone and the gifts have been opened
right,
and
right,
everybody has spent time with you and they've left, they've gone back to their lives.
right,
Sometimes that sadness actually starts once everybody leaves.
right.
So we want to really kind of go down and delve into how can we continue on after the holidays and getting back to being the caregiver without everybody around.
Right, right. And I like what you said that sometimes the sadness, come after everybody leaves. Because, when everybody's there, sometimes that takes your mind off of the fact of
Absolutely.
the current situation, being a primary caregiver, your loved one's condition, because everybody else is around, and it just jars your focus. It calls you to focus on other things and be there, be present in the moment. But now it's like a little escape for you.
Right.
The holidays, it's like a little kind of mental escape. Mm-hmm. But now that everyone has gone, and it's just you and mom or you and dad, reality sinks back in. Mm-hmm. How do you keep your morale up? Right. How do you not fall into depression and things like that? So we're going to talk about that. I think one thing, again, to piggyback off of our prior episode, you got to understand why you're doing this. You're in a position to help someone to continue their life the best that you can,
right?
With the circumstances and, according to their condition. So you got to just think about your why. Even though a lot of caregivers were never asked to be caregivers.
That's
like
right.
For me,
that's right.
I fell into that role. My mom didn't ask me. It wasn't until later on, until she said, well, Sheena, I'm going to need you to take care of this. I'm going to need you to take care of things because I can't any longer. I can't, I can't. So it wasn't until later down the road, like I was already kind of used to being the role of caregiver. But honestly, I didn't even really know what that was or what it all entailed. I just knew that my mom needed to be taken care of. And I knew that it was me, who was able to do that. So you got to remember your why, or, just the fact that you are in that position now and your purpose of doing it.
Absolutely. And I mean, and again, when you feel that sadness coming on, or you feel that resentment that everybody got to leave,
right?
And now I'm back on the island by myself, with my loved one. That's when you, again, like you said, you have to remember your why, your purpose, your reasoning behind doing it. And, sometimes you're sitting there going, this is my why. This is my purpose. I got chosen for this. You did, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why. It may not look like it at that moment, right, but there's a reason why it was you that was chosen for your loved one.
Right, and here's the thing: you're absolutely right. Because me, I went through those feelings of resentment. I went through those feelings of even being angry because, I was a caregiver at a young age. I started taking care of my mom like at 19. I started to. And then as her health progressed, more and more, I had to, take care of her. So, and, shout out to my family because they did what they could have done when they could do it and things like that. So shout out to my family, those who chipped in, pitched in, the way that they could have. But, again, once everybody left, it was still just me. So, in that moment or in those moments or during that journey, I didn't understand why. But look, I stayed loyal to the journey. I was faithful to the journey. And now that my mom has gone, what came from it? A whole organization.
That's right.
That now is focused on helping other caregivers pretty much implement self-care and make sure they don't lose themselves and, the things that are important to them and, their health and everything like that, keeping them self-care, make sure they have the mindset of self-care. So don't despise your journey. And, God is faithful. He sees what you're doing. You know what I mean? So you're still going to be blessed because of your sacrifice. So don't despise your journey.
Right. Absolutely.
So, okay. So we covered that. So now one of the things, what can caregivers continue to do, They received gifts during the holiday. They've given gifts during the holiday. But one thing they have to keep in mind is to continuously to give themselves the gift of self-care.
Absolutely. And to me, I laugh because a lot of people, the commercial version of self-care is go get that facial, go get those nails done, go get that hair done. And being a hospice CNA for 26 years, I have to laugh at that because a lot of times I have heard caregivers say, I just want to go to the bathroom by myself and nobody call my name, or I just want to sit outside.
Right.
And 10 minutes, just breathe in some fresh air.
Right.
And so you have to give yourself that gift, whatever that gift may look like. That gift may look like when your loved one is taking a nap and you go outside. I tell all caregivers, invest in a baby monitor.
Yes.
As crazy as that may sound to some people, invest in a baby monitor. That way, when your loved one is asleep, you can go outside. You can put the app on your phone.
That's right.
And you can watch your loved one, but you're sitting outside. If you can, if self-care to you is baking a cake, do that. If self-care to you is just sitting still quietly and just there's nothing going on, that's self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Self-care is not always going out and getting something done. While those things are lovely,
right?
If you're able to do that, great, go for it. But it's small items that can be self-care.
Right.
Very small items. I mean, I had a lady who I went to go visit her mother. And I said, oh, how are you doing today? She goes, I would just love to go to Wawa. And if anybody that lives around this area knows what Wawa is.
Right.
And I was like, okay. She goes, no, I just love their shakes. And I just want to go get a shake from Wawa.
Right.
But when I go, my mom, usually I have to put her in the car.
Right.
And it's an ordeal. And I said, so go get a shake.
Right.
And she just looked at me. But when she came back, it was like that 15 minutes.
Right.
Rejuvenated her. She was smiling. She had her shake in her hand. And she was good. Right. And that was self-care to her.
Right.
And so, self-care is going to be the smallest thing that you can think of. And it doesn't have to be major.
Right. And I also believe, too, like self-care, that's a good starting point. I think the starting point is you're missing your freedom at some point. Like your freedom to come and go, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What you did for her in that moment was give her 15 minutes of freedom without packing up mom, putting mom in a car, just to run around the corner Wawa.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what you provided to her. So it's more so making time for a little bit of freedom. Right. That's pretty much what it is. And that's a good starting point. But also taking advantage of your surroundings. So again, I've shared this story many a times. I've always been conscientious of like definitely working out and stuff like that.
Right.
Working out for me was an outlet when I was taking care of my mom.
Oh yeah.
So I couldn't always go to the gym, right? So my living room became the gym. I understood how my mom liked music. So I would turn on YouTube while she's sitting there and shaking her head to the music. I'm working out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there were even times where she would sit there and she'd be moving her hands up in the air, like, things like that. So take advantage of your surroundings. Oh, yeah. Take advantage of the simple acts of implementing self-care. Working out at that time was important and is still important because it is a part of our physical self-care. So I was still able to do that. And another thing I did, my mom had one of those transport chairs. It wasn't a wheelchair because she wasn't a heavy person to have one of the heavy duty wheelchairs, but she had a transport chair. So what I did was I would take her, put her in her transport chair and just push her around the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. Next to where we live, it was a little small farm. So I would go push her to where the farm was, let her pick out some peaches and nectarines and stuff. And that's still walking. I think people underestimate walking. Walking is physical self-care.
Right.
It's still being active.
Right.
So I did that. I will push her around the neighborhood in her transport chair,
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, take advantage of the small ways to implement self-care.
Absolutely.
Self-care focuses on, the 5 major areas, which is our physical, our spiritual, mental, emotional, and our social well-being. And every day we should focus on doing something to develop those areas of self-care, so we can get a continuous routine, So absolutely, make sure you're giving yourself the gift of continuous self-care. So, a lot of people have the habit of, hey, if you need me, call me. So, caregivers, if they do that, make sure you call those people that said, if you need me, call them. Do it, because a lot of times many a times, you can be used to doing things on your own and just overlook the extended hand to help you.
Right. And I've, like I said, I've been around so many caregivers, and I've heard friends and family use the phrase, if you need me, call me.
Right.
And I ask caregivers, I'm like, take them up on it.
Right.
And I know I don't want to impose. They have their own families. And I'm like, but if they said it,
correct,
take them up on it.
That's right.
And, and I know sometimes caregivers are like, well, I don't know how my loved one's going to act, or,
right,
I don't know if they're going to feel comfortable being here. And I said, well, why don't you invite them over one afternoon and show them what you do for your loved one?
Right.
And then the next time you take them up on that offer,
right,
they'll feel more comfortable, so it doesn't feel like you're kind of just leaving them and running out. But I tell people all the time, that phrase, people do not realize how powerful that phrase is.
Right.
If you need me, call me.
Right.
If I need you and I call you, I need you to be here,
Correct.
And so I always tell people that's a powerful phrase, especially to a caregiver.
Yes.
And so, I tell a caregiver, if I need you, I'm going to call you. Please help me. Right. If I start sending up white flags and stuff saying, help me, and that white flag is going to come through the phone, saying help me. But a lot of times I implore people to don't wait till somebody calls you.
Right.
Hop over there.
Yeah.
Just, knock on the door and say, hey, I just was on my way to the grocery store. Do you need me to pick you up something?
Right.
Or, it's a nice day outside. Would you like me to take mom down the street? In the transport, something like that.
Right.
So it kind of works both ways where, don't always wait for the call.
Right.
Don't wait for somebody to call you.
Right.
Just kind of, do that pop in and let that caregiver know, I meant what I said.
Right.
I'm here to help. Let me help.
And I believe the reason why, I've done that before, I've actually had somebody come and hey, I knew them very well. They were willing, or they were already used to taking care of people. Mm-hmm. My mom was particular, honey. Let me tell you, my mom was particular. I was like, well, Mom, this is so-and-so. I've been knowing her for a while. She's going to sit with you while I go run, do X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? She's like, well, okay. And, just but still looking at me like, why are you about to leave me here with this? Still looking at me, I'm like, Mom, it's gonna be okay. And I'm going, before she started, I just got the door, and then, that person, she was already used to taking care of people, so she already knew how to, hey, Miss McBride, like that. And then I would call a few minutes later, how was she? Oh, she's fine. Go ahead,
right.
But that was such a blessing for me. Mm-hmm. Gave me that 30 minutes to an hour to go do what I need to do, X, Y, Z. So yeah, if somebody offers, take them up on our offer. But I also believe sometimes some caregivers can be hesitant because they don't want to feel disappointed if the person don't come through, or yet we start to hear all the excuses like, you didn't mean what you said to begin with. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's why, when somebody say, well, if you need me, call me. A lot of times caregivers like, all right, because, make sure you implement that. Hey, if I call you, I really, really need you. make room, make time, whatever. Just make sure you follow through since you offered.
Right.
So I really believe that's important. Follow through. And if you're not a caregiver and you're aware of a caregiver situation, just keep them at the forefront of your mind.
Right.
Keep them in their situation at the forefront of their mind. I tell people, if you're not a caregiver now, you will be. Baby boomers are living longer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's us, the children, grandchildren, the neighbors, the friends who all have to eventually take care of them. Mm-hmm. So if you're not a caregiver, you will be. I mean, statistics show, numbers show that, yes, this is what it's going to be. You're going to end up being a caregiver somewhere, sometime in your life. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to, mean what you say, follow through. And then also, for the caregiver, take them up on it. So you got, as caregivers, but there's plans, there's backup plans. Oh, never mind. That whole notion of things.
Absolutely. And we were laughing when we were trying to come up with how to say this. And right. I said, the honest truth, plans, backup plans, and then never mind. Because you, as a caregiver, you think, okay, I'm going to call, I'm just going to use a name, Miss Sue. And, Miss Sue's like, oh, yeah, that's great. But in the back of your mind, you're going, let me just call somebody else just in case.
Right.
And then those plans fall through. And then you're just like, you know what? Forget it. It just wasn't meant for me to go out. But it's how you deal with that moment. It might not have been able to go out then, but I would just have a circle or a village, as we call it.
Yes.
A village of people that, you know what? I need to know, can I depend on you guys if I call you? I know back in the day, as I say, I remember, aunts and uncles and the grandparents when they were, everybody was coming around. And if somebody couldn't come, a husband, a spouse, or somebody was coming, or like you said, kids were coming mm-hmm. to sit with somebody. Right. And I think nowadays some of that has been lost.
Yeah.
And so, if you don't have that means as far as family, get you a village of friends.
Right.
Whether they're caregivers or not.
Right.
Get you a village of friends who you can depend on. And, it may take some planning. It may take some never minds happening. It may take some backup plans happening. But get you that village that can help you to give you that little bit of time. And I think once you get that village and it starts going, mm-hmm. You may be able to have a set schedule that mm-hmm. on Tuesday I need Miss May, or on Thursday can I have Mr. Bill, come over here. It'll start flowing.
Right.
And I think that will alleviate a lot of the never minds eventually once you start getting it going. But it's you implementing it and getting it started. Correct. And again, getting you that village going.
Right. So by this being a new year, let that be one of your goals, is to build the village.
Right.
Having those people that can make the time to come over, follow through. You can trust them, their word, their accountability, all those type of things. So by this being a new year, let's do things in a less harder way. I like to say work smarter, not harder. Mm-hmm. So building that village actually helps you work smarter instead, because caregiving there's no way around it.
Caregiving is hard by itself.
Caregiving it's hard. It's mm-hmm. hard by itself. Because not only are you dealing with the issues of the individual that you're taking care of, but you're still sorting things out with your own
That's
self,
right.
your own life.
That's right.
Listen, there's caregivers currently who are taking care of two parents. There's caregivers who are taking care of both grandparents. I know people who have moved out mm-hmm. from their home, so their home, them and their family, the husband, the wife, the children, they all moved on with grandma,
yep.
moved in with grandma and grandpa.
Yep. So they're taking care of two families.
Right. themselves, their family, and then their grandparents. You know what I mean? So caregiving is challenging. It comes with a level of stress itself. So once again, working smarter, those trusted friends, other relatives that you can build that village with, do so.
Right, absolutely.
Being that it is the new year, caregivers, have you checked in with yourself today? What are your goals? What are your plans for yourself this year?
Right. So with that, I was thinking of the mindset that, we check in with doctors, we check in with, other people, whether it be, like I said, the doctors or other caregivers or family or friends. But have you checked in with you?
Right.
And what we mean by that is like we were saying physically. Have you set up a doctor's appointment for you?
Right.
Have you gotten out in the fresh air for you?
Yes.
Have you caught up on any appointments you need to do?
Yes.
Because if you're not physically checking in with yourself, you're kind of doing a disservice to you and your loved one.
That's
because
right.
if you go down, then what happens?
Exactly.
So you got to physically check in with yourself. You got to mentally check in with yourself. Caregiving, like you said, is so stressful, and it will take you down many rabbit holes that is sometimes hard to get out. And if you don't recognize that you are going down one of those mental rabbit holes,
yes,
then you kind of just open up a door where we start worrying. Family and friends are going to start worrying. They see the sadness creeping up. They see you, not wanting to really do a whole lot. And I just want to say there is nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with saying I need some help.
Right. It's
There's
okay.
nothing wrong. Okay. It's absolutely okay to not be okay, because again, caregiving is stressful.
Right. And,
everybody deals with their emotions differently. Everybody deals with stress differently. So you want to do a mental check-in every day with yourself. And if you are feeling some kind of way, reach out to somebody.
Correct.
Well, whoever you think you can trust, reach out to somebody.
Right.
We want to make sure that, we're just doing a check-in with ourselves.
Right.
Seeing where we are, because again, like we said, not only are you taking care of your loved one, you still got to take care of you.
Yes.
Because without you, your loved one can't do a whole lot. But you still have to take care of you, because you still got to live.
Right.
There's still life as a caregiver.
Right. There's a life after caregiving.
Yes. During it too. Right. There's life during caregiving. Whether, you might not be able to do as much as you were doing before you were a caregiver, but you're still living.
Yes.
And you still got to take care of you. So please, every day, do that check-in with you.
Absolutely. I will also say, like having someone you can vent to, like you was mentioning, that really helps. Just somebody that can just listen to you. They may not be a caregiver, but they could just be a listening ear, because if they feel like, hopefully if you're venting to them and they feel like there's something deeper wrong, they can tell you, hey, let's go to this person. Let's talk to this counselor. Let's talk to this therapist, XYZ. But definitely having a venting partner or someone you can vent to on a regular basis, it definitely helps you make it through. Definitely help you make it through, so you don't feel like you're in it by yourself or that you're alone. But that's really what it is. It's the new year. We want you caregivers to definitely make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
You don't have to. In other words, don't die while taking care of somebody else. Don't die while taking care of your loved one. There's a life during caregiving. There's life after caregiving. And just prepare yourself for all of it, the best that you can.
Right.
A healthy you is a better you. The better that you're feeling, the better that you're doing, the better you can provide care to your loved one.
Absolutely.
That concludes our podcast episode. I want to thank Celeste Wooten for coming in and joining me for the episode that we just completed. Also, I want to encourage you to go over to our website, WeSupportCaregivers.org, and check out the resources that we have available to you. There's some free educational resources available to you. All it requires you is just to sign up and create an account with those companies offering those resources, but sign up for some free educational resources. Also, while you're there, sign up for the opportunity to be chosen to receive one of our self-care support kits. It's absolutely free to you. Just sign up. And lastly, we want to keep you encouraged. Make sure you join our self-care support text by texting the word caregivers to 888-672-0288 to join. Once again, it's been a pleasure to bring you another podcast episode. And until the next time, make sure you take care of yourself. Remember, you deserve self-care. Until next time, take care of yourself.